this is going to be a little more difficult to see because all of the pieces are very small here. What I'm going to try to create is a face that's going to be interwoven with the windmilling arms of the swimmer, and the face, as you can see, would be sideways coming up for air and then dipping his head down. I'm going to continue and actually have the head go to the back of the head and then come back up for air. So it'll be a complete cycle where the head is going back, looking the other way to get air, and then coming back this way for air. So when somebody swims, they're let's use this example again. When somebody is swimming, they're going to have their head, their face is going to be here is going to be looking at you, right, like this, and then it's going to go down into the water like this, and then turn all the way back around, because this is the this is the open arm that cuts the head out, and then this is the arm where the head is in front, actually. So let me start this again. I'm going to do the sequence of faces that are going down into the water, because this person is breathing as he's swimming. This again is the body. This is the windmill arms. But this one, oops, is the arm is in front of the body, and this one, the arm is behind the body. That means that the head is dominant. So this is the back arm and this is the front arm. So when the front arm is open, that means that the face is looking out at you, because it's the open arm. It's like somebody is swimming like this and their arm is like that, right? And then as they move through it, the arm covers their head and their head goes the other way. So I'm going to try to get the head going this direction, which I haven't illustrated here, but you have to imagine it's just the hair, and then it'll go back to the ear and then back to the face. So that'll be a complete cycle. I'm going to plan that cycle over this complete distance from here to here, with the head facing, the head's in the water, coming out to look at you here, going back into the water here, looking back away from here, and then looking back into the water there. So again, head in the water here, head looking at you at this moment. The face will be then going back into the water here, then looking away from you here, which I haven't illustrated. Looking away from you here, that direction, and then looking back into the water here. So that will all be plugged in right along this shoulder line where the arm is doing its windmills. Now, to the face itself. Again, this is going to be hard to see because it's all very small stuff. I would begin with the nose. The nose is a series of, first I make sort of a general color shape, which involves this sort of yellow-green. I put a little bit of, here, these three elements. I put these three elements together. So I would stack some yellow-green with some of this abstract color with a stripe of black. I'd sandwich these three things together, and then I would put them through a pasta extruder, which will actually grind this to be much thinner. This is what it looks like, the same thing looks like when it comes out of the pasta extruder. You can see the pasta extruder puts it between two rolling pieces of metal, and those two rolling pieces of metal roll along, and the teeth of it take and trim this down, so it's a very skinny piece of clay. I have a lot of these elements, and I use this element to create, for example, the nose. The nose that's going to be on this very small face. This is all very small stuff, so hopefully you can see. This nose then if you can imagine, I get from this piece, I shape into this piece, which is a tiny little nose, and then I put a little bit of filler clay, like the yellow and the flesh colors and the other things. A little bit of filler clay into that nose, and I keep pressing it down to extrude it, to bring it out so it gets thinner and thinner. This is about the size of the nose I'm going to need, and maybe even smaller. You start with the nose. This nose, there's two other elements to build. One is the eyeball and one is the mouth. So I'm going to build component pieces. The nose, this eyeball was built by putting the white hot dog and the black pigs in a blanket, rolling that around like this, rolling that out like this, extruding that out so you can see this is the result, which is a black loop with a couple of white dots on the side. And then I'll take this result and skinny it out like this. Just by hand I'll push it and make it more and more extruded until I get something small like this. This has all been extruded. Then I'll add a little bit of negative material. These are tiny thin little wedges. This is to keep the oval shape of the eye oval when it gets pushed back down into the rest of the clay. And then I'm going to take this is a thin slice of this material I made, these 3 layers, and I'm going to wrap that around on the top, and this creates a kind of element eyeball. So I have an element nose and an element eyeball, and this is a refined piece of that same element eyeball. You can see that's the top. The top has a dark lash, and that's going to become that eyeball in time. And last I want to create a mouth. So I start trying to make a tongue. To make this sort of tongue, which is like a couple of black loops moving around to sort of a separate tongue, I would take a large clump of red, a thin piece of black, wrap it around, and then groove it down the middle, and then pull this piece back onto this other piece like that. This is the beginning of this little tongue. I'll extrude this tongue out by rolling it and getting it thinner and thinner, and then I will take this sandwich material, this thin sandwich material with the black line, and I'll put some kind of, this is what I'll call is the lips color, and I'll put that back through a pasta extruder, again through the roller device to make it skinny, and this is the resulting material. I get this material I will actually wrap around the tongue, and it looks like I should have put it on the other side. In order to do this right, I would have wanted to not put this material on the black side. No, I do. I do like it on the black side. This is correct. I want to put the pink material in a way that wraps around this mouth. And one last really important element is I like to put a little slice of teeth. You can see I've made a little color sandwich out of teeth color. I'm going to slice off a little bit of that, put it on top of the tongue, cut this off. I'm going to fill this other part in with some additional material so it doesn't go. And then what I've done is enclosed an entire mouth, buried the teeth inside it, the tongue inside it, and lips. And I've put the sort of yellow clay as the outside, quote-unquote, flesh or skin color of what this character is going to be as he's swimming. And you can see there's a little bit of teeth, the tongue shape, and the rest of the mouth are in there. I'm going to make this, I have to make this much smaller. So once I have a bit of an element like this, I have to actually, by hand, as you can see, extrude it. You can see I'm making it longer and skinnier as I pull the parts apart. It's important to keep it, how do you say, it's important to keep it not tearing. So you have to learn a technique with your fingers to carefully pull just a little bit and run up and down the length of the mouth or this tube to make sure that you're not pulling anything apart. It all comes out evenly. So I've already made it about twice as long just by doing that by hand. You can see now there's still a mouth image inside that. It's just been extruded. This mouth image now has to begin at one side. He's gonna lift up and go back down during the windmill motion. So if I were to take this again, I would want this mouth that's going to be here to be sized to come up and back down about right here. And then this will be the back of the head, and this will be the neutral part. So this, I'm spacing out the basic pieces of this to fit what the arms animating distance is. This mouth now, I'm going to have it go down and away. So that's the actual size of the mouth going that direction finally that will be put inside. I'm building this little creature, this character animating right now. I'm going to get the nose. You always build from the center out. I'm going to get the nose, pull it out. It has to come up from the water. It rides on top of the mouth, and then it goes back into the water, and so it disappears. And then the eyes connect. You can see from here. You can see this interesting shape the mouth makes in the distortion. But this is actually the true profile of what I'm making as he comes up, as he animates from here to here, up and back down again into the water. So this eyeball needs to come up from the water. Let's see what I have. Yes, this is the thin one. I think it should be even smaller. I'm going to extrude this a little bit more. Get it tinier and tinier. Because it just has to read as a little bit of an eye. I'm going to slice it off because this is where it hits the water line. It's going to be right at the edge of the nose, right there. It goes right back down into the water line like that. I'm going to go ahead and take this other eye material I've already had, and I'm going to use it to put it. See, there's a second eye that has to show up, so I'm going to go ahead and quickly extrude that, and it's going to go it's going to be coming up from the water, which is why I slice it, coming up to the nose and going back into the water. You see how it has to fit? You can kind of see a very distorted face on both sides. You see that? But what that is, when you cut, it's going to be cut like this, and that's going to be this face going down and up and then back down like that. Okay, lastly, I made this ear material. Where is my ear? This is the ear material. It's basically just one of these 3 leveled sheets rolled up like that. And you just keep rolling it up, and you kind of like a cinnamon roll. There's the ear, and I'm going to want to put a little bit of filler material so the nose doesn't go anywhere. This is where I want to create. Again, it's all very small, but this is often how the scale you have to work at in order to not make your blocks too large, because they will grow on you. They will get larger and larger unless you take care of them. Ears tend to be right with the parallel between the mouth. They parallel the nose, exactly where the nose is. So I'm going to put a little bit more material in here. I'm going to put a little bit of this will be the hair. It's going to be the sideburns. I'm not going to complete it right yet, but I'm going to put a little bit of sideburns in because it'll help differentiate it has to change shape, so be very conscious of the way this piece of flesh that separates the eye to the ear changes as it hits the water. So this sideburn virtually disappears as it gets up to here, because from that view, from this view, it's just a little bit of ear. But then when it's down, when its face is in the water, there's a great deal of sideburns showing. So that's what this is. It's disappearing here, and then it's growing as it gets to these sides. Give me 5 more minutes. I understand. So this ear will be very visible right there, and then it comes up to be much less. See how I'm thinning it out? I don't want that ear to be very thick here, but I want it to be very thick there. So I'm thinning it out in the middle, and then I'm going to thicken it out again as it goes to the side view, because he's going back down. He's going to turn his head completely around, so this has to go down into the water as I continue it out. I'm going to fill in the, you can see the sideburns in the ear. This is the beginning of this image, if you can tell. Right here, it goes to here, this image. It's hard to see it, but it's this face, ultimately.